In today's video, we unbox Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles City Fall. Let's take a look.
There are hobbyists among us, geniuses with the ability to play any game they want to. In 1978, a corporation known as The Interior isolated a young hobbyist named John and exploited his genius for their entertainment.
Then one day, their hobbyist ran away.
Here we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles City Fall by IDW Games. It is in their Adventures Universal Game System. Now what that means is that all the games here within this Adventures Universal Game System can be combined in a sense. They all use the same mechanics for the characters. So you can take the characters in this and say put it to the new Batman Kickstarter that they have going at the time of this filming. And then, of course, vice versa. And then any other games that they bring out after the fact, you will be able to bring into this. So that is one of those huge benefits to this game. The fact that as they add into it, this game is just going to get bigger and better for you. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the box and see what we have going on in this one. Now, this one is City Fall, and we can pretty much see right from the go that almost everything right here is villain based. And that is definitely the way this one goes. This one definitely seems to be on the Foot Clan side of things, where change is constant was on the Turtle side. I actually really like that, being that you, if you were to say get this retail separately, you know, by getting one box, you're not duplicating components in the other one, or duplicating, you know, characters from one to the other. Each one is completely different. You don't have to worry about that. That is one of the things that I really like, the way that they have done this. And then I also like that, you know, you can, in the other one, you can get your complete Turtles, and in this one you can get almost your complete Shredder's crew. So that way you don't have to get both. So if you're a fan of the villains, if you're a fan of Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady, that side of things, this would be the one for you. We can see it runs 1 to 5 players with an average playtime of 60 to 90 minutes for ages 14 plus. Now with this 1 to 5, this goes with the multiple different play styles that the game provides. And in fact, we can go ahead and flip it over so we can see that right here, featuring a 4 versus 1 and a full co-op. So what this is the 4 versus 1 is how you get to the up to 5 players, where one person is playing, and in this one might be different. I haven't really seen the rules, but from experience knowing the other one, you play the 4 heroes, or you'll be playing the 4 turtles up against the 1 villain. Or in full co-op, you play the 4 turtles and the AI plays the villain. So that is how it gets to the 5 player counts. Right here on the back of the box, we can see written up all of the components for the game. We can see an outline of what the game looks like, and this right here is actually a very good representation of this game. I actually really like this a lot, where a lot of times you will see maybe just an outline, just a little brief component overview, you know, a placement, but you don't really get a scope of the game. With this one, it actually is representing the game fairly well. You are seeing your players, your player boards around the edges, with your heroes and then your villains. And in almost all cases, the boards are only 2 large. There is one that goes 3 large, and then a handful that are 1 large. But for the most part, they're only 2 large. So this is giving you a fairly decent representation of your play area, what to expect And that is one of the other advantages to this, is that it has good table presence, it has good table scope. You don't get overwhelmed with parts, and I do like that. Ages 14 plus, not a children's toy, hobby gaming product. And then of course we get to see all of the miniatures that are in here, and again, that is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this. The one thing though that I wish that they would have continued to do, that they did with the first game, that they did with Shadows of the Past, with the first Kickstarter, is that the heroes were in a different plastic color than the villains. So that way, if you are not a painter, it kind of helps to immediately be able to tell the difference between all of the heroes and all of the villains. Now, I know with Changes Constant, there was 4 base plates to tap on of the 4 colors of the turtle. It will be interesting to see what we get here, if we get the same 4 colors or if we get different colors for our different players. That'll be very interesting. I'll be very interested to see if we get anything like that and what we get of that. Right off the rip, we also see that there are some nice sized looking miniatures here. This Bebop and Rocksteady look absolutely huge. And the other thing that I'm really looking forward to in this one is the evil, I think Leo, the evil Leo version. That right there is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is. Well, let's see here. There we see him right there. I don't know if that is Raph or Leo, of course, but once we open it up, we will definitely be able to see the difference. And then on the back we see April. I believe it is right. Yep, right there. And then Bebop and Rocksteady on the front. Well, let's go ahead and crack this open and see what we got. It's dark times for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Shredder has seized control of the city, and worse, he's brainwashed Leonardo into joining the Foot Clan. It's time to add more heroes to the fight. Take up arms as Splinter, April, Ohab, Angel, or Slash, and help the Turtles take back the city. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles City Fall is a scenario-driven game created by IDW Adventure Games system. Each Adventure Games system is both standalone and compatible with other games in the system. Mix and match characters from each game to create custom scenarios. Play as one of the 5 new heroes or take on the role of Shredder and lead the Foot to victory. With his new Chunkin' and secret weapon, Dark Leo. This all-new scenario into the Adventure series features a brand new scenario and 2 different modes of play, 1 versus many and fully cooperative. Well, I guess that answered our question on if this was Leo or Raph. It is a brainwashed Leo. Well, let's go ahead and flip this over and take a look inside. And right up first we have our adventure comic. So this is going to be the scenario game for the book. We will leave this for last in our spoilers section. So just in case you don't want to see the scenarios, you don't have to. Of course, seeing the absolute first one is not going to spoil anything, because that is where you will start off. You know, give you an idea. If you don't want to get spoiled, but you do want to have an idea of what kind of things you have coming, let's go ahead and see that. And here we have the first battle. You can see all of the objectives, everything you need to do. It shows you your strength modifier, the villain's focus, so forth and so on. And then when we turn the page, it'll show us the layout. And again, it shows us which villains to use, how to create their deck if you're doing 1 versus 4, 4 versus 1, and then which which tiles to use. And as you can see here, we only have 2 tiles. The layout for this, the table presence for this, is really nice. Well, we'll go ahead and stop right here for now. We will pick this back up again at the end during the spoiler section. But you know, if you wanted to stay spoiler free, seeing the first scenario isn't going to kill you. I mean, you'll see that when you open up the game, go into it. But it does give you an idea of what you have going for. This is a fairly thick book. I don't remember how thick the one in Change is Constant, but this, to me, I feel like this is more substantial to that one. And I know with Shadows of the Past, there was actually 2 books. So together they were probably about as thick as this, but this as an individual book is probably, I think, one of the thickest ones I've gotten thus far. And then here we're going to most likely have our rule book. Yeah, our rule book. And then, of course, the expansion promo there on the back. Which, I mean, is nice. You're giving me a little promo there, but usually I like to see, you know, a reference card or a reference sheet there on the back of my book. Some additional rules, FAQ, no kind of index whatsoever. That really is something that I always really enjoy, really look forward to. Especially in a game like this where you have multiple different types of play system. You're going to have multiple different little areas where you talk about move, especially for the villains in the game, where they're going to move potentially different, or they're going to attack potentially different based on if you are playing that co-op mode or if you are playing the AI mode. So that is where, you know, having a index would have really helped out when it comes to being able to look through it, because if you might find how to attack in one, or you might find, you know, your item in one and not think to go to the other and see something a little different, or maybe what you were actually looking for. So that's a little disappointing, but that's all right. And then here we have the components. I like that we actually can see what all of the figures look like. And then we have a visual representation of all the components and a brief little description. This right here, this components overview, is absolutely fantastic. Here, we're just going to tell you absolutely everything that's in there, real quick, real easy, but then also give you a breakdown of what they all are. That is great. And then here, continuation for that. And then here, this is, again, is great for putting your figures away, because sometimes, you know, as you pull them out, they can be a little difficult to remember where everybody came from. Having this in here is a good way to get around that. Some of the other ones that I've seen is where this has been more of a foam, so the foam goes all the way down to the bottom, kind of a glue to the bottom, so they'll have like a printed with the foam on top, and that print will actually show the figures underneath. Of course, being that this is a plastic tray, that's not really going to be there, so this really is a next best thing. I absolutely love that a whole lot. And then here we have our characters and a Leo ally card. That's kind of interesting. I like that. So here, while we don't have the turtles per se, it looks like we're getting them as allies. So, you know, little non-playable characters probably. And then we can see the different ones for the cooperative and competitive mode, or competitive and cooperative. So this would be the 1 or 4 versus 1, and this would be the 4 versus the AI. Showing you the difference. This right here is for target priority. So it's saying that this guy is going to go to the hero that they can get to with the lowest health, I believe, is what that one is. And then here's a table layout. Again, very similar to what we saw on the back of the box for cooperative setup. And then an example of how the dice work in this game. And that is one of the very unique things about this one, how when you roll your dice, not only what you roll is very important, but then how you play it, because this dice for you is given to this guy and this dice is given to this guy and vice versa. So you want to make sure that they actually need that. Where here, he has no defenses whatsoever. It may have been more beneficial to rotate this one and give him that shield rather than that double hit. But and then here we're talking about movement again. So here we're talking about, you know, where the play might be a little different from style to style. So it would have been nice in the back to have an index to say movement, page 17. Melee range. And then the cooperative setup. And here we can see one of the main differences, where here, if you remember, right here was a villain deck that you're going to build up to give you, you know, kind of villain cards like the heroes have. But in here, in cooperative mode, this is a turn order deck. So all of the different characters that are being played have a card in here, and so the first one that gets flipped is going to be the first guy that goes, so forth and so on. So in each round, you never know when you're going to go. You could get bombarded with the villains all coming at you right off the rip, or it could be vice versa, or there could be a good mix. You never know. So that's one of the main differences that you'll notice here in the setup for the two differences. Terrain and line of sight. Character attributes. Spawning, stoning wounds. Come on. Alright, we can get rid of you again. Don't need that impromptu table. First up, we will take and we will look at these last. There is a little bit of tape here, but if they're anything like the last, yes. And that is another thing that I really like. See, this is that little indent right there. So when you never tried that before. I won't lie, I kind of felt a little risky doing that. But see, that is really nice. That how they have, and you notice, and I've taken the tape. Tape was off at the time. But because of those little indentions, that lid stays on. That is awesome. That is fantastic. I love that. We will take a closer look at those here in a minute. Up next, then we have all of our tokens and all of our terrain pieces. Then we have our cheat sheet guides or reference guides. This is going to be a quick look at. There should be 2 of each of these in here. So cooperative mode and competitive mode. And like I said, 2 of those. And then general terms and icons. And then terrain color guide. We were talking about that line of sight and everything earlier. That is nice. And that's probably why they didn't feel the need to put this kind of stuff on the back of the rule book. There is a good bit of information there. Since they were giving you the reference cards, they figured, hey, we'll use the back of the book for an advertisement space. Then we have all of our terrain. We can get rid of that. And let's move him. Move you. Zoom in a little bit here. There we go. And here we have the terrain, and we'll flip. And then here, and actually I had it the right way originally. go. Okay, up here in the corner we can see 9A. It is very small, extremely hard to see, but it is there. That is nice. So when you are going through your scenario book, it does help. If you remember when we took a quick look at it, those are very large pictures. It is pretty easy to tell which is which, but having that printed there to verification is nice. And they are all double-sided. So now this should be 9B. Yep. And then 10A. So I'm guessing there's probably going to be 8 of these, and probably the other game was 1 through 8, A and B. And this looks like in the sewer, their little training area. That is cool. Oh, and that's cool looking. Wonder if this is gonna kind of be a represent. Here maybe if a Bebop and Rocksteady could be in those 2 locations. Oh, that's so cool looking. It was. And I already see just looking up and guessing. You already see how these are probably going to connect. Probably going to be like that. That's so cool. And then a dock. That is cool. I would so love for them to add vehicles to this game. Give us, like a turtle boat, the turtle van, in the new Batman Kickstarter, all of the awesome Batmobile, Bat vehicles. And again, here we can see those color differences, which again kind of goes back to that whole rule or reference sheet and everything to know what is what. And then our final one, those light poles are very Hook-esque. Oh no, that's cool. Shredder's little area. I'm expecting in this scenario that Shredder is going to be seated right there. That's cool. So then here looks similar. No. Cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pull out the other tokens, and that's a little close. There we go. Up. All right. And here again, it goes to the whole thematic view of the game, where in all of the different games, you will have the icons will be slightly different. Like here is our health tokens in this game. There will be different health tokens in, say, the Batman game, into any future games that they have, but the whole idea is going to be very similar, where the cards for themselves is going to tell you what the health value is of your character. So then it's not going to matter really which health token you use, whether it's these ones, whether it's the special Kickstarter, turn dial ones, whether the ones from any of the new games. It all kind of works. You just need to know what the counts are. Like here in this one, this counts for 5, and these are all 1s. And then on the opposite side is the villain's health, which is nasty pizza. Another thing that I've really liked about this game, that everything is very thematic. Something else that I never really noticed is this little notch in all of these. There's some of these little things. So if they are all together, if we leave these together until needed, pulling this out of the box was easier. Didn't really give that much of a mind. It's all because of that slight little cut that they put there. That is very nice. And then we have some focus tokens, some KO tokens. closer look at those. And maybe a closer look at the pizza tokens. How nasty that is. And then here are all of those dice tokens. Again, because as you give your dice to your players, your partners, you will use these to represent the dice that you give them. So they'll still have the the 5 dice that they're looking at, or in a sense, the 5 that they have to go out. They'll have their 3 actual dice, and then the ones that was given to them. And then some spawn point tokens. Alright, next. Then we have some terrain tokens. Some doors and trash cans. Heads, shipping containers, computers, and then cameras, fire, and then on the other side was the smoke. And then some barricades, a hot dog stand, that's absolutely fantastic. Burst sewer pipe, very cool. Ooh, an TGRI bottle. Some AC ventilation. And then finally a few more vehicles. Now, one thing that I do like that other games have done, and that's when they have a big sheet like this that's got a ton of empty space, not to waste this empty space, but rather to have just a yellow bordered, an empty, white but yellow bordered, an empty, gray bordered, this kind of thing, of a couple of those, so you can make up your own tiles. I mean, how cool would that have been if they added in 2 or 3 extras, and then we could have made up our own turtle boat or a turtle van or something like that. Or especially if they did a extra large yellow bordered one. There's no reason you can't do it yourself, but if it was already here on this, on their board here, it would have been just that much easier, that much already perfect to scale, and then you could just got maybe some sticker paper that you could print it on and put it there on top of it. That would have been absolutely fantastic. I've seen a lot of games do that, again, especially with so much empty space here. I kind of wish they would have done that here. So let's pull the box back out, and then here we have all of our dice, and open you up. So there are mainly 2 different types of dice, and that are these black dice right here. There we go. These black ones are the ones that are used by both the heroes and the villains. They are your attack dice, your damage dice, so forth and so on. And then all of the heroes have their own unique set of dice, and everybody has 3. That is one slight change. to the original Kickstarter Shadows of the Past. If you remember Shadows of the Past, the Raphael had 5 of his own dice because he did not share. He was a loner through and through. But in this one, they have gone back to where even Raph only has 3 and he shares his dice. But so that is how these guys look. Then we have all of our cards. Here we can see them. You can see how many we have. That is how many character cards we have. This will be for both the heroes. There'll be 3 different kinds of cards in here. The heroes, the villain competitive, and the villain cooperative. Then we have our 3 packs of cards. In here will be all of our initiative cards and then all of the character cards. For the heroes, there will be, I think, about 10 cards in total. I think each person has about 10 cards. I can't remember. But you only use... Here, see here, in one of the stats here, cards 3. You only pull 3 of those. So that's kind of a fun little aspect of the game. So it's letting you know here she has 3 focus and 3 cards. Kind of one of those aspects of the games. It adds a deck building aspect or a customization aspect to the game. Another one of those really simple mechanics that I like the way they've done this. All of these cards we will take a closer look in the spoiler section. And then we will pair up the dice for them there, because each person's dice is going to be slightly different, where everybody will have at least one yin-yang, and then the other sides will be a little different, usually with one person kind of having a semi-unique side to them, whether it's like a double attack or an attack or defend or a double movement, something like that. Then here we have some extra baggies to put everything in. And in this instance, 4 red base clips. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not liking this at all. With the base game, they gave us 4 of these. And they were 1 for each different color of the turtle. And of course, one of them was red. I would have preferred... If you were going to give us, at least if you're going to give us all the 4 of the same color, at least do something different. Have these in gray or brown or something like that, or yellow, but not in one of the colors that you've already done for your turtles. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. And then, of course, then we have our round counter right there. Alright. And finally, we have the miniatures. Let's go ahead and take a look at these. Now that is nice. And once again, one of the things that we're noticing right off the rip, they are snug in here, but they're not locked in. Why is that important? Why is that something to make mention of? Because if they were locked in and you painted these, every time you put it in there, locked it in, you put it out, that paint would rub fairly harshly against the edge here and slowly, chip away at that paint job that you worked so hard to achieve. By having them a nice little snug fit, they're not going anywhere, but you're really not going to rub your paint too much. That was a little tight, so maybe, yeah, just make sure you haven't been going in and out, right? Do it just a little different. That could push in a little harsh. That would definitely rub your paint, but for the most part, they just drop in there nice. Let's go here and just start up at the top and work our way around. What does that mean? We get to immediately see the Shredder. Now he is nice. And it looks like he is a double. He's a 2-part miniature. So there might be a little work that you have to do, especially around here on the cape. So that's a little unfortunate because that kind of of fix that kind of work, and it is a little hard to see here on camera. I think on the back you can see it a little easier, but that'll be a little harder to fix, to try to get rid of some of that lines. Here's a pretty noticeable mold line right there. That one's fairly doable because it's on a nice flat surface of the cape. He has pretty good finger marks there. Nice, feel for his texture. You can see the ripples in his pants and everything. He looks nice. I like him. Here along the helmet, you can see that mold line. That again will be one of the more difficult places to kind of clean up that mold line. Let's see here. There we go. You can kind of see that mold line right there now. That'll be one of the more difficult spots to clean up. And then it looks like we have 4 of these guys. And just in case I don't remember, I show this top-down view. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like we have 6 of him. Now his little face. Now that's kind of eerie. That's kind of evil looking. His face there. It looks like his smaller version, but the same kind of shoulder pad that Shredder kind of has going on. And then interesting. So again, this is one of those ones where, because they didn't, color code everything without actually getting into the cards or other, I'm not positive I can tell you if that's a hero or a villain. I'm assuming that's one of the heroes. I'm assuming that's not Shredder's daughter, but and then this one looks like it might be April. Nope, that's going to be April right there. Or maybe, I don't know. The reason I didn't think this was, because I think in the comics or the show, April had little staffs like that. But on the box, we can see her with these little hand gauntlet. And she's a little difficult to come out. These little hand gauntlet things. So I know that that's probably going to be the April. But we'll get to her in a minute. He is very cool. I like that chain. So we have 1, 2, 3 of him by the looks of it. And then 6 of this guy. Is that probably the same guy, just a different sculpt? And there's the 2. So I mean, they're pretty close. I think they're different. Are they different or are they the same? Oh, it's so hard to tell. They might be. And then over here. You can see that arm is separate. So we need to do a little bit of gap fill along his arm. And then Splinter. Now, for what I understand, the Ninja Turtles cards from Changes Constant is very similar to the cards for Shadows of the Past. So what does that tell me? That here with the April, with the Splinter, with the Casey Jones in that other pack, you could most likely then incorporate these miniatures and their cards into Shadows of the Past. So if you also have Shadows of the Past, having this one, while you don't have the AI cards, which maybe you can even bring those in and use those AI cards in place of the ones in that game for its scenarios, you might be able to pull that over. That'll be an interesting comparison to do eventually. But that is one of the cool things that these games, by the looks of it, they may be even increasing your old Shadows of the Past, especially if you're only able to get that at retail. So then that's just another one of him. So 1, 2, 3. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of him, 10 of him maybe. And then we have our Leo, our brainwashed Leo. So he has kind of like the shredder claws there. And then of course his katanas. That is so cool looking. So and I'm guessing he's even going to be different because I know there is also a villain's version of the Turtles pack, one of the mini expansions, and I think Leo is even in that one. So this would be even a different version of Leo. Oh, look. All his warthog goodness. Ah. And I know in this game they don't have it. I would love for them to do an upgrade pack for this game, adding in items or weapons, because immediately you're seeing, he has that little chainsaw. All of your turtles have their own weapons, their katanas, their sais, their nunchucks, all of that. Well, in Batman they added items, added weapons, weapon cards, so you can take, I believe, 5 of those instead of your one deck card. The only difference is these can be used multiple times, where a weapon is a one-off. So that's kind of the trade-off. But I would love for them to make a weapons card expansion incorporating those new rules. And we've seen him incorporating those new rules that they've done for Batman into this one. And then here we have Old Hob. So this, I believe, would be then the hero version, because I do believe there's an Old Hob villain in Change is Constant. Oh my. It's that just monstrosity of a purple dragon. And I know this is for the comics, the IDW, but man, would I love for them to also make a cartoon version 1, and have those purple dragons, and have Leatherhead. I think it was his name, Leatherhead. I can't remember, but have some of those characters in there, and then Slash. I think he is absolutely huge. See, and I wouldn't mind a small mini pack for the movies. Have a Tokar, Razor, Super Shredder, and then our Rhino. And then here we finally didn't have many bended parts in this one, which that actually, since it's a wooden handle, could come off as maybe just with the wood. But if you feel like you want it to be a little straighter, to fix these kind of bends in the plastic, all you have to do is the hot water trick. You get a bowl of hot water and a bowl of cold water, submerge the part you want to bend into its new position in the hot water, take it out, bend it because that'll make it pliable, bend it to where you want it to be, stick it in the cold water, and that will set it. Very cool. I am definitely liking the miniatures here a whole lot. I am definitely liking the nod to the villains in this one, where we have a whole bunch of our mainstream villains. But what's even better is, yes, you're getting some mainstream villains, but you're also getting two of your mainstream heroes with Splinter and April. So definitely City Fall and Change its constant, you bring those together and you pretty much have all of the main characters that you would ever need or want to be able to play a game of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that is pretty awesome. Well, that is everything for City Fall Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I thought I would take a quick break right here, a little intermission, so to speak. Just in case you wanted to stay spoiler free and not really see the cards, I wanted to give you a chance to stop the video here. So during this little intermission, I thought I would do a real quick recap of the hero dice and how they are played in the game, where, say, these are what everybody rolls. These are going to be your 3 main dice that you have chosen, but then you have also chosen to give the player to the left a 3 or a 2 range, and to give the player to your right a double movement. Same thing over here. This guy has chosen to give him a double attack and a single attack, and over here a shield or range. So you really want to think about, not only, your roll matters, but then what order you give things. Because, say, like this guy over here, he does not have any of that yin yang, so we actually might want to do something like that, because he does have a good bit of movement right here, because he has one of his own. He's getting 2 from over here. He doesn't really need that movement as much. Additionally, he has no range, and he already has 1 potential thing of range, so we might actually want to potentially flip that, because he has his movement now. He has that option. He has some range option. Now this guy has some movement option, where, depending on the scenario, you might want to flip that around, give him even more range. He might, just that double might be better for him, so forth and so on. So again, as you can see, as you're thinking about, and again, it's going to be very scenario specific, and not just scenario specific, but where you are in the scenario, what you're coming up against. You definitely might want to have just a ton of extra attacks going on. You might not be moving anywhere, so maybe you don't even need that. Maybe you're going to want to do something like that and get extra stuff there. So all of that you want to be able to take into consideration, and all of that leads to the customization of the game, your cooperative aspect of the game, your teaming up of the game, you're talking to one another. What is your best avenue to defeating the scenario that you're in during each, not just overall, but within each round of play. Here we have our character cards, where we can see we have the competitive villain cards, your cooperative villain cards, your hero cards, and then 2 that I found very interesting. They are villain versions of the cooperative mode for Slash and for Splinter. Now, I do think he started off as a villain and then became a hero, became a friend, so that's probably why he's also over here. Let's swap that out a little bit. Here we go. Switch that right there. But so it's interesting that we have both that in here. And I'm guessing for Splinter, the reason we have a Splinter villain card for that one tile that looked like the sewer dojo floor, I'm guessing so you can have your heroes do a sparring match against Splinter. Whether or not that's the case, I have no idea. It sounds extremely cool if that is the case. But here we have that. We can see its back. Looks like that. And then his back, very similar but gray. And then for all of our heroes, okay, there we have. There are some little differences. Okay, that's even a little different. A purple dragon, but a hero card, and then. And another. Okay, so that's kind of interesting with the back. So there we go. We have the Turtle Ally, Splinter, and April. And then Mutant Animals, maybe. This might be the start of that new expansion that they're doing, maybe. So we have Old Hob as a hero. And then Slash, and then Purple Dragon, and then here with these, the Purple Dragons have the purple back, and you can see there is a slight difference for the back for the co-op and competitive. And here's our Hun. They have the same. And now we're starting to get into the foot. And again, they have that foot back. So all of these will have that same back. Bebop. And Rock Steady. And then Brainwashed Leo. Karai. So that miniature with the bow, that was Karai. And finally, the big bad, Shredder. Wow, look at that life, 20. Here we have our hero cards and our initiative cards, and I believe these are going to be our ally cards that we saw there in the rulebook. We have our two turtle heroes, Splinter and April, our two, I'm assuming, mute animals, Old Hob and Slash, and then of course our purple dragon hero. These are of course all of the backs for the cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. Now again, this is one of those aspects that makes this game kind of interesting, that you do have all of these cards to use in the game, but you don't use them all at one time. You'll go through and you will pick depending on how many your character can bring and how many the scenario allows. You will pick out of these the ones that you want. So that is very interesting. Now this is the one I thought was kind of interesting. In here, there is both a Bebop and a Rocksteady card, but then a Bebop Rocksteady team card. Very interesting. Oh, that evil Leo looks so cool. Wow, look at me sure to see. But I guess that makes sense. If you're playing just against Shredder, that there will be multiples of him. And then same thing with Splinter. Assuming I was right, where you're doing a Splinter training mission, you will definitely have a bunch of Splinter cards, and then one. Okay, yeah, see, it's even labeled different. Master and Sensei, different colored background. Very cool. Yeah, Shredder looks like he's all labeled the same. Now for the villains, they work a little different. They all have the same back, because when you build your villain deck for your one player, it will tell you to get all of, say, the red, blue, yellow, green. I think some of them have all of the red, or all of the red and blue, or so forth and so on, or just all of the yellow maybe of a person. Then you mix them all together and make up your deck. So that way the back, they all look the same once you have the deck made. This is the only kind of unique card to that, and I'm guessing it is a more universal one for the regroup. Well, up first we will take a look at the Foot Ninja cards. Here are the red cards for the Foot Ninja, and then the blue, and then for the Foot Ninja they also have a yellow. Up next we have the Foot Bruisers. They're red cards. And now they're blue. Then up next we have the Foot Elite red. And they're blue. And then Karai's red. And Karai's blue. And Leo's red. His blue. And then Leo has a green deck as well. Up next we have Shredder's reds. I do believe he has the most. His blue, his green, and then his yellow. Then up next we have the Purple Dragon red, and the Purple Dragon blue, and the Purple Dragon green. Up next we have the Hun red, blue, and green. Then we have Bebop. You can see before and after, that's hilarious. And then his blue. And I can't remember if there's an expansion that gives human versions for these guys or not. Rocksteady. Red. Blue. And then finally we have the Bebop and Rocksteady, red and blue. And now let's get back to the adventure comic for City Fall and flip through the whole thing. And then Bebop, Rocksteady, and then the Bebop and Rocksteady combos. Very cool. And then, yep, see, here we go. We kind of have that little, the Splinter, 4-on-1 training. So, yep, that's exactly what that was for. And then, yep, Slash is the villain. And then here's where we get the brainwashed Leo. Oh, because he's sitting on that little throne seat. Very interesting. Then Leo, Karai, or Shredder. See, now this right here, again, it's just some of those simple things. They're giving us multiple options here. We can either play with Karai or Shredder. That means this scenario right off the rip can be played at least twice with all of the characters that you have chosen. So it's here after you've kind of defeated Leo for that first time. Now he is being supported by Karai or Shredder. So you can play with your characters, play against Shredder or Shredder, play it again, the other one, play with a different set. Just because of that, not only can you massively change the characters you brought, but now even the scenario itself can change up a little bit. Just little things like that really add tons of replay value to a game. See, Shredder, Karai, foot. Oh, wow. That's brutal. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. This is actually going to be one of the largest footprints that I think I've seen. This is actually 4 tiles right here. So, with how many characters we just saw on that battlefield, that's you might need a larger one. See, and then we're back to just the 2. And here's where we play as Splinter. Because notice the other ones had just the little turtle shell. But here it's like letting you know, here, you need to play this one Splinter. And then here's letting you know you should play Old Hob and Slash. And then nope. Choose the 4 you want. Very cool. Well, that is everything for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles City Fall by IDW Games. Another one of their games within their Adventures Universal Game System. And I hope this unboxing and little brief overview, review, thoughts of this game has helped you to determine if it is something that you would be interested in for yourself. Well, until next time, guys, I'll see you later.